My paper is about mindfulness and consumer culture, written by Teddy Hastreiter. The abstract. This paper examines the positive effects mindfulness has on balancing the negative and stressful effects of consumer culture. My work argues that it provides an alternative to the wants and desires associated with obsessions with products and acts of consumption, giving consumers the power to think for themselves and the agency that freedom creates. Predominantly privatistic, consumerism places the individual before the community. This paper analyzes the role consumerism plays in our society and how mindfulness can make us aware of our purchasing behaviors and their consequences. Mindfulness not only promotes awareness towards one's actions, but shows us the realities of consumerism, good and bad. It enables us to open our eyes and become aware of the manipulative nature of branding and advertisements. In other words, mindful consumption gives us a choice, to buy or not to buy. No longer led simply by impulse, consumers are free to think about the products they consume, where these products come from, and why we are purchasing them. My methodology includes conducting literature search regarding both mindfulness and consumerism, and using material examined in Com 450 and other critical thinking classes to synthesize my analysis. Mindfulness explored. Mindfulness can be expressed as a heightened state of involvement and wakefulness with an emphasis on awareness of external stimuli, openness to novelty, and drawing of novel distinctions. Here, external stimuli refers to objects, people, and the environment, things that are external to you. Openness to novelty then refers to this flexibility of the mind, an openness to different points of view and information that may change how you currently feel about something. Mindfulness can also be interpreted as being present in a non-judgmental manner with respect to both internal stimuli and external stimuli. Internal stimuli here refers to thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensations, things that you feel internally. Mindfulness is viewing internal and external stimuli with acceptance, non-judgment, compassion, and again, flexibility of the mind. Mindfulness is also being present to one's immediate experience, the here and now. Mindfulness also enables us to see clearly, creating a space where informed and rational decisions can be made. Defining consumerism. Aside from its role in economics, consumerism rests on the assumption that human desires are infinitely expandable. If there are an infinite number of ways to be dissatisfied, there are boundless opportunities to create new products to meet those desires. Also, consumerism is centered around the cultivation of desire. Here we're starting to see how consumerism associates feelings, desire, happiness, hope with products that they are trying to sell. Defining culture. Culture, it is argued, is not so much a set of things as it is a process or a set of practices. Culture is concerned with the production and exchange of meanings, the giving and taking of meaning between the members of a society or group. Consumer culture, then, is privatistic. The focus is on personal consumption, not social investment for the public good. This is a problem as it promotes hyper-individualism, where we put the part, ourselves, over the whole, the community. It also promotes selfishness and lack of compassion, as we only care about what the individual does, and not how it affects others. A consumer society. A consumer society is characterized by its use of leisure time for spending money, and for its belief that owning things is the primary means to happiness, the assumed primary goal in life. Viewing happiness in such a way is a problem, as it attributes happiness to the amount of things you own. Often going far beyond their basic needs for food, shelter, and transportation, the consumer class indulges in personal pleasure and self-soothing products from designer clothes to specialty wines. This risks an overindulgence in products, as well as an overdependence on products, as we use them to soothe ourselves and define ourselves. Advertising in a consumer society. In a society trained to consume products, advertisers are the ones trained to capture our attention and enable us to buy their products rather than anyone else's. However, the ways in which they go about doing so are questionable. Advertising deliberately fosters a climate of self-involvement, playing on people's needs for security, acceptance, and happiness. This changes and or misrepresents certain societal norms and or values, equating them to products, selling them alongside products. By setting up idealized stereotypes, advertisements foster greed, status envy, anxiety, health fears, and at root, a sense of dissatisfaction and inadequacy. Advertising fosters insecurity. This is especially true in young children, girls, and women. They ask themselves, how will I ever look like those models or those celebrities? What advertising does, among other things, is manufacture desire and shape it, and thus create people who are insatiable and who have been conditioned to continually lust for more things. This is because desires are fleeting, so advertisers have to keep changing up the ways in which they relate to their audiences. Defining mindful consumption. We define mindful consumption as the ongoing practice of paying attention with acceptance to internal stimuli and external stimuli and their effects on the consumption process. So here you're thinking about everything, not just how you feel, but how other aspects outside of you are affected as well. Mindful consumption can also weaken consumers' attachments to habitual and conditioned behaviors that evoke positive emotions at the time of consumption but are detrimental to their well-being in the long run. This enables us to think for ourselves, is this my belief or someone else's? Why am I thinking this way? Thereby decreasing our risk of being manipulated by ads and/or media. The transformative potential of mindful consumption. We suggest that mindful consumption is an inquiry-based process that endows consumers with awareness and insight to choose their responses rather than react blindly or habitually. This gives consumers a choice. Do I really want this product, or am I just told that I want this product? Consumers' increased awareness, in particular of their bodily sensations, can guide them toward mindful choices that are not directed by unconscious pursuits of pleasure and avoidance of pain. Again, we see non-judgmental thinking, a calmness, where we are not clinging to pleasure nor averting from pain. The mindful consumption practices of non-judgmental attention to positive or negative sensations that arise when one is exposed to individuals of various genders, races, religions, sexualities, ages, and so on can alert consumers to internal biases. Here one is able to learn about themselves, learn about what they like, what they don't like, and look at it non-judgmentally, and just see it for what it is. How do we achieve this? 1. Education. The only way to control response is to prepare people around the world with the literacy tools to question and critically consume the extraordinary volume of media they will be exposed to. Certain ways of doing so are incorporating media literacy classes into middle schools, as well as philosophy classes such as logic, so that we can start to identify fallacious arguments that advertisers make. 2. Mindfulness training. Mindfulness training fosters the replacement of habitual and reactive behaviors with enhanced self-regulation. This helps you get to know yourself, control your thoughts, desires, behaviors. You can attain this through meditation. Perhaps incorporating meditation classes into schools would also benefit. Furthermore, mindfulness takes the power away from the advertiser and places it in the hand of the consumer. Not only is the consumer free of the manipulative effects of advertising, but they are given the choice to buy or not to buy. Thank you.